Welcome, everybody. Welcome, one and all. This is Kenoshi Abominito here with another episode of Project Console. Title of this episode, forgot why. Title of this episode is Buy It Again. And before we get started into our topics, I'd like my panelists to introduce himself.
Hey, it's Mr. Red Fox on Provider BS Busters, and glad to be on another cast, especially one where I don't have to run anything. I just, I'm here as a panelist, not as the host. So glad to be here. Looking forward to a good cast.
Glad to have you. And let's see.
Hmm.
For our first topic, we will.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry. For first topic, Xbox Series is the SSD cannot be replaced unless you send it into Microsoft, and it's like a $300 fee. So apparently, the SSD, uh, Microsoft has encrypted the SSD. So I'm sure
Can't
that
hack it.
yeah, you can't hack it. You can't take that SSD and put it into another Xbox because I think it's tied. The encryption is tied to the motherboard. So even if you were to say, have a broken Xbox Series X or something, and you took your SSD and put that in another Xbox, it wouldn't work. I believe it's tied to the motherboard, and it's like a $300 fix. So modern gaming, it's fantastic. Um, you
Mm.
can't fit. You can't. You can't fix it yourself. You gotta. They'll gladly charge you a premium to get your stuff fixed if you want it fixed. And that's that.
I'm about to say something that's going to be contrary to what I would normally say, what people would think I would normally say. I I'm not saying that it's right. You should be able to replace your SSD, but also, isn't the SSD the sole form of memory on your Xbox?
Yeah, it's the storage.
It's the only storage medium. It's not like the OS is on the RAM of the CPU. On the It's like stored on the cache in the CPU or anything like that. So if you take the SSD out, the OS, like your basic profile, all that comes out too. Correct?
I believe so. I mean, if they've encrypted the SSD, then they must have just put the
Yeah,
operating
it
system
kind
on
of yeah, it kind of makes sense that you can't just just take that shit out. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I understand.
it. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
All
of
right.
all the of all the things I've seen when it comes to repairability, this probably isn't the most egregious thing I've seen. SSDs, they're not like they have a much longer lifespan than mechanical hard drives, so you really got to be doing some weird stuff with your SSD for it to go bad.
Well, I mean, a
Quickly.
virus.
Yeah,
If your SSD gets a virus, uh, that could do it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that could be the case, but again, if you're getting a virus, you're probably doing some
Some shit you had no business doing in the first place.
exactly. You're probably yeah. It's like this console's still pretty supported. I don't think I don't think people are spending time putting homebrew on it. In any case, as annoying as it is, it's not the most egregious thing. Like one of the things that and the EU decided this a few weeks ago, or at least is working on deciding it. They haven't come to a decision about being able to replace batteries in your phones. Because the thing about batteries is they don't have a particularly long life. the battery cells eventually are going to go, and and it's enough because there was a point in time when you could replace your battery in your smartphone, uh, but they seal it up and say, well, it's because of it's because of the water resistance. That's why you can't replace your battery. In all actuality, they just want you to buy another phone in the next 2.5 years. Uh, what's your thoughts?
Uh, I mean, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, I know this is gonna sound really bad, but uh, like I have the same thing with my phone. The back of it where the battery is has come apart because the battery was running hot and it basically melted the glue that held it together. So I'm just gonna have to get a new phone. Now I got like a Motorola, like a mid. It was like the upper mid tier of the upper part of the lower tier smartphones. It's not like, oh my god, it's I spent $600,
yeah,
but it wasn't high class either. So I what I'm saying ultimately, what I'm saying is this: is that like certain things, I'm like, yes, you need to be able to repair this. You need to be able to repair your
you'd be able to repair,
you
stuff
need
like
to be able to repair your phone because that's something you use every day. It's a unfortunately a smartphone is a necessity.
yeah,
Now if you're asking to like, whereas it's kind of like this, right? Like if you like asking someone, hey, I want to be able like, because functionally speaking, your your consoles today are functionally a small they're small ultra specialized micro PCs.
yeah,
Now if I had a small if I had a small micro PC and someone's like, hey, guess what you can do with your small micro PC? All of the OS, like, because old PCs, before hard drives became a thing or like a major thing, your OS and everything else was held in on a kernel that was like always constantly on the motherboard, right? So you didn't have to worry about storage. Your hard drive was for extra shit. From what I'm understanding, the hard drive has all your shit on it. So if you take that out, your console is functionally just useless.
yeah,
So I'm not saying it's okay, but I can understand where they're like, yeah, you can't just go and take this shit and do X, Y, or Z with it.
yeah.
And I know some
That,
people are gonna be like I know some people are like, well, I want to be able. Okay, how many people are tech savvy enough to know how to replace the SSD? Because here's the thing: not only do you have to take the SSD out, you got to put another OS on it for your Xbox, and it's not like, it's Windows 11. It's like it's a specialized version of Windows.
yeah, and you can't just. I'm sure you just can't type it into Google and download it.
Yeah, it's
But
it's specialized. So I'm seeing people like, how could they do this? It's very easily because they're trying to. They're trying to make money. This shit's about money.
yeah,
And also, they don't they would rather them go and fix your shit. Now, I mean, I think the prices are egregious? Yes. It shouldn't be that much. It should be like let's split the difference and say it should be between one. It should be between 50, which is kind of low, and like 150.
Yeah, yeah. I think. Yeah, I think it should be at least a little cheaper than $300. Yeah, 150 sounds reasonable. Um,
Because what the fuck were you doing with your? What the fuck were you? Because SSDs are like damn near bulletproof, really.
yeah, they have a longer lifespan unless you're just doing some weird stuff.
Yeah. I was downloading odd apps onto my Xbox. Well, that's you. You did that. No one forced you to do that shit. The fuck's wrong with you? Why?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But anything else you'd like to say before we move on to the next topic?
I mean, people are so easily upset by this. Like, I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
Like, the way I feel about it is like, and like I said, I know some people are gonna get mad. Sometimes, look, I don't trust Microsoft, but sometimes, like, or any of these companies, I'm normally on the side of the consumer, but like how many people are going to know how to, like, the amount of shit, like I said, like you have to functionally take the SSD out, put a new SSD in, then you have to somehow get, like, really the key point is getting an OS onto it that'll interact with Xbox's servers. And they don't want anybody just being, because basically, both these consoles are very internet connection dependent. So like they don't want just anything going on there. So I can kind of, I'm not saying it's okay, but I can understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, let's see. Yeah, Pikmin 4 is selling relatively well. It sold more than Pikmin 3 when it came out. When it came out on the Switch, and
Yeah.
I haven't even heard from people that didn't like weren't huge fans of Pikmin. They like this game, so
Here's what I'm
hopefully
about to
that
say.
what's
Uh,
that.
Pikmin 4 the Switch has a larger install base than Pikmin 3 did, which came out on the Wii U.
I'm talking about the Wii. I'm talking about the Switch port. Even the Switch.
Yeah, but
Even
that was a
Pikmin 4 has a
port.
Switch port. Then
Yeah. The thing is like that was the port. That wasn't like a brand new game.
yeah. I think what the article I heard from, I think they were just saying that Pikmin is growing in popularity more so because Pikmin's never really been a huge game for Nintendo. Has it been? It's definitely was. It's not like a system seller or anything.
Yeah, it's a very niche IP. It's a very niche franchise because it's fucking it's a strategy game. It's Pikmin is the nice version of Overlord.
Yeah,
And for those of you who don't know, Overlord was a game where you functionally were you're this evil villain who like the first game was like the evil villain that a group of heroes tried to take down, switched bodies with the leader of the villains, well, with the leader of the heroes, and corrupted the heroes when he switched the minds with them, basically. So the hero wound up taking over the body of the villain and was locked away. And the villain took over the body of the hero and basically corrupted the other heroes into like the seven deadly sins. Um, and the reason I say it's like Pikmin is because your character was squishy, couldn't really fight, but you had these minions. The minions came in different colors. There were the green minions, which were poison based. There were the brown minions, which were your basic minions who, like, functionally were really strong and good at fighting, but couldn't swim and like like had no elemental strengths or anything. So it was like you had to kind of get a bigger army of your minions and have them keep on fighting to level them up to make them more powerful. And you could bring souls of the energy of your defeated enemies back to your minions' hives in order to power up the hive so that you get more minions. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically, except I personally preferred Overlord because it had a story, whereas Pikmin is just weird shit. um, but yeah. Pikmin, I tried. I tried with Pikmin 1. I tried with Pikmin 2. I went to a friend's house and played Pikmin 3. I was like, I'm still not feeling it. Like, Pikmin just doesn't do anything for me. It's one of those weird Nintendo games that doesn't do shit for me.
Yeah.
I know that's Miyamoto's pet project, but I'm underwhelmed by it.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, um, I'm not a huge Pikmin fan, but some of the stuff I've heard that they were doing, it doesn't seem like you're as limited in this game. I heard the dog character that they introduced has helped, you know, as
Yeah, I'm gonna get one of
helping
those.
out.
I'm definitely gonna get one of those dogs. I mean, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna front. That dog is cute as hell, but like, I'm not gonna be playing Pikmin.
Yeah, and I heard the because now you can traverse the world at night, so you're not completely limited there like you were in the other games where you pretty much had to. Everybody had to run and hide when nightfall came.
Yeah, like if you were outside, the enemies would get more powerful and kill your ass.
Yeah, yeah. So I heard it feels more like a game now rather than just
Curiosity.
yeah. There's you level up stuff. You can build. Well, not build, but there's just a lot more going on in this game versus the other one. So hopefully it does well. Hopefully it's another.
You'll get
Uh,
more Pikmin if you really like Pikmin, but I'm not really.
yeah, I'm not.
Like, I'm not on Pikmin like that, so like I'm like, this is. I'm glad there's someone enjoying this shit. Let me put it that way. All right.
Yeah, it's another franchise that Nintendo can have in their arsenal. You know, for uh, for future endeavors.
Yeah. It's just, Pikmin don't do shit for me, but hey, it's
Fire for past few years, a lot of you know quiet franchises have gotten popular. I mean, you had Fire Emblem that got fairly popular, and I think they've done too much with that franchise. And then you have Kirby that's has grown in popularity, especially after that 3D game that they came out with, and so you know it things are on the upswing for now. It's gonna be interesting to see how they react when they come out with a new console. And
what,
let's
Nintendo?
go. Yeah,
I mean, the thing about Nintendo's like Sony in this regard. Both of them, when they have a good console cycle or a good, they tend to get arrogant in the next one. So yeah, Nintendo, yeah, happy for you. They're gonna get real fucking arrogant their next console, and they're probably gonna do something stupid.
possibly. It's always a possibility. They definitely do that. That's for sure. Did that with the. You think they did that with the N64? Did that with the N64 and the Wii U?
No, I think the N64 was Nintendo got arrogant because of the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Think about it, man. They basically they were able to claw back all of their market share from Sega due to their fantastic games. Because whether you like it or not, the Super Nintendo had the Super Nintendo initially, when they came into the market, they had lost all their market share.
Yeah.
Like they went from the NES had like 85, like 90% of the market down to like down to like I want to say like see what's the word I'm looking for? Down to like once the Sega Genesis came out over 2 years, because the Sega Genesis came out in 88, 89. In 2 years, between 89 and 91, when the Super Nintendo came out, they lost like 60% of their market share.
Yeah.
And then they came out with the Super Nintendo. And over like 5, 6, 7 years, they took that shit back. Like, people forget, even when the PlayStation came out, it still didn't have the install base of the Super Nintendo for the first 2 years. The PlayStation didn't get that install base until like Final Fantasy VII came out.
Yeah.
That was the nail in Nintendo's coffin right there.
Yeah.
For their brand here in America. Okay? So, like, yeah, they were a little arrogant. They're like, we're going to stick with cartridges. Fuck you. Okay. Okay, all right, we'll see what happens. Now, we know there was a more to it than that, okay?
Yeah.
But, part of it was Nintendo was going to do the shit their way, damn the consequences. And the consequences were the N64 only sold 60 million units.
Yeah.
And then they doubled down on it. With the GameCube, where, okay, we're finally going to do CDs, but they're going to be mini discs.
Yeah.
And the GameCube sold 30 million.
I mean,
It sold 30 million.
It sold less. And the thing is,
It sold half. Like, literally, it sold half. So then, Iwata comes in, he's like, fuck it. We're going to sell you the GameCube again, baby, but you're not going to know it. But now it's got waggle controls. And the Wii, which sold gangbusters, combined with the DS, which also sold gangbusters.
Yeah. And the thing And the thing about the GameCube, and I remember coming across at least a video by somebody that we're familiar with who defended the whole mini disc like it was a piracy thing, and that's why they did it. It's just kind of like
I mean, that was a part of it. I'm not going to say that the anti-piracy measures weren't a part of it. They were. But the thing is like, ultimately, it was Nintendo doing what the hell they wanted because it's Nintendo. Because Nintendo's always like, we're going to do what we want, damn the consequences.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, and everybody, moved on to DVDs, which could store more. It's kind of funny, mini discs could... Yeah, because, for example, I think, Resident Evil 4 required 4 mini discs? 3 or 4 mini
On the
discs.
GameCube?
Yeah.
No. It was on a single disc on the GameCube.
I think it was on multiple. Let me see how many.
No. Reasonably certain. I know it was on one disc on the Wii port of it. Here, let me check. Resident Evil disc count on GameCube. It was 2 discs.
Yeah, it was 2. I think there was another game that had multiple discs.
Bajan Katos.
Yeah.
It was Bajan Katos. Okay, fair enough. When I played the game, I just had the 1, but whatever. That may have been a revision or whatever.
What about weren't those discs more expensive to develop for versus the
What?
DVDs too? I don't know.
What, mini discs?
Yeah,
I mean, it was
mini
about the
discs.
same.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't... Like, here's the thing. The issue with the Switch wasn't... Like, I mean, with the GameCube wasn't... Don't let those people tell you, oh, no, well, it was about... It was the console. I mean, it was hard to develop for. That's bullshit. They just didn't want to do it. It just boils down to they had a way they want to do it, and they were going to do it the way they wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, because the whole hard to develop for is BS. Because I hear everybody. I've heard developers cry all night and day about how difficult it was to develop for the PS3, but they still did it.
Yeah, because they were paid to. Because Sony spent a lot of money to make it into a thing. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, basically, what I'm saying is, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
All right. Like it boils down to, do you want to spend the money?
Yeah.
And if you don't, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah. But so, anything else you'd like to say about this topic before we move on?
I mean, nothing except, I'm tired of people always, like, people need to stop parroting what other people say and actually use some common sense. Do you honestly think, like, okay, just like they said, oh, it's hard to develop for this console. Do you honestly think? I mean, let's use some common sense here. If it was that hard to develop for the GameCube, do you think, like, considering that the Wii used the same architecture as the GameCube, do you think that it would have been? And look at all the shovelware and bullshit we got on the Wii. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that argument doesn't hold water. It doesn't make sense.
I don't even think they were using like their own proprietary DVDs too. So I don't want to hear that.
I'm tired of people. Oh, this is why it's so, because we had to. It was so hard. No, you just didn't want to do it. Really, it just boils down to, we didn't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm okay. Look, I'd rather you be honest and just say we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Rather than lie and be like, it's because it was hard, it was expensive. Bullshit.
Yeah.
You didn't want to do it. Or it wasn't worth your money. It's like, well, we can't, it's really hard. Because here's the thing, right? They're putting games on the fucking, they developed for the fucking, shit, I forgot the name of it. They developed for the PS3, and the cell architecture on that was a bitch.
Oh yeah.
So if you can develop for the PS3, then there's nothing preventing you from developing for that other console, other than you didn't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just be honest. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah. So PS5 Pro rumors are circulating, and apparently, this is, I guess, this is the future of gaming. Mid-gen refreshes of consoles, which is just which is pretty absurd to me. It's like,
Can you just put
that
energy towards a new console?
Yeah, it's like, why are you wasting resources on these mid-gen refreshes when all the resources probably could have been used to
a new console?
New console. Yeah. It's just weird to me. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, because they want to, I mean, let's just keep it real. Functionally, what these people want to do is just, these people want to basically, these console manufacturers what they want to do is they want to prolong the console generation. because they're just starting to get a handle on the development costs now. The costs are starting to go down, and yet they're still able to sell these games at 70, $60, $70. So they want to prolong the console gen. And if you're Nintendo isn't playing the Power War anymore. They stopped with the GameCube. So it's like for them, I mean, I said it on my cast yesterday. Look at the Switch. There is not a single game that is on the Switch right now that could not have been on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Not a single one. There's no game on there, first, second, or third party, where you're like, yeah, I absolutely need this to play this, other than it's only on this console.
Yeah.
Because you can't say the hardware is like, oh, no, this is amazing. No.
Yeah.
So, whatever. People are going to get mad about that, but I don't care. Oh, how could they do that? Ah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like I remember the last time they did this, the PlayStation 4 Pro. They had a Sony at the time. It was like, yeah, we're bringing this out to keep people from going to PC, and it's just like that. I don't know. That just seemed like such a weird thing to say. I don't know if that was just.
It just seems weird to me.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like there are other reasons why people go to PC gaming other than just better visuals. Isn't always, depending. It really depends on who you're talking to. Because there's a lot of because PC gaming, you get more options. Better visuals, of course, is nice. Higher frame rates, but there are a lot of other reasons to switch from console to PC.
Yeah.
That. So I don't know. That was weird when I heard that. Hopefully it's not true, because man, it sucked to buy a PlayStation 5 and know 3 to 6 months down the road there's just going to be a better one, a better PlayStation 5.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I'm not against hardware upgrades if you're adding something, but the thing is, most of these hardware upgrades, and I'm being very generous calling them an upgrade, they're not adding anything. You're literally taking out features.
Yeah.
Like if they did a PS3 mid-gen upgrade.
They did a what? The PS3 picture?
If they did like a PS3 mid-gen upgrade that added back in stuff like what's the word I'm looking for? Backwards compatibility with PS2 and PS1. That'd be cool. Yeah. I'd play that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Especially now, if the PS5 Pro were to do something like that, and backward compatibility functionality, maybe have some kind of emulator that will allow you to play your older PlayStation library if you still, if you're a collector or something. But one of the features that I guess this new PS4 or PS5 Pro is supposed to have is 8K gaming. That's what they're shooting for.
No.
Better ray tracing.
No.
4K 60. Yeah.
As soon as they said 8K, I'm like, no.
Nobody owns an 8K. Like, how many people? The cheapest 8K TV I found was $2,000. It's like two.
And no one's making movies in 8K.
Yeah. And I'm sure the process of making stuff in 8K is ultra expensive. So, let alone owning a device to consume stuff in 8K. But yeah, that yeah, I don't know. When I heard the 8K stuff, it's like,
Everything
yeah,
after
but
this is bullshit. That's what I would be thinking. Everything after this is bullshit and people making shit up because they want to write a story.
yeah,
That's what that shit is. Because I'll tell you right now, no one is like, let me put it this way. These motherfuckers can't even get games. Think about it. Both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, which are the most powerful consoles this gen.
yeah,
Okay? Both of them can barely both of them can barely do um both of them can barely fucking do uh like you can't even get 2K 60 frames.
yeah,
You either can get 2K 30 frames or 1080p 60 frames.
yeah,
Okay? It's still not 60 frames. It's like 1080p 45 50 frames. Okay? So if you can't do 1080p 60 frames per second, what the fuck makes you think you're going to do 8K?
yeah, yeah. The
And
thing,
whoever wrote this is now. Does this mean that someone had saw some development document where they're like, we're targeting this? Yeah, you can target anything. Hell, I could want to go with a Playboy Playmate, but that don't mean that shit's gonna happen. It's like
yeah, I think I might have gotten this wrong. I might get this wrong, so don't quote me on this. I think they're targeting path tracing, which the 4090 struggles with path tracing, even with the LSS. Like, path tracing fully on, at least, it struggles. Like, you're gonna tell me you're gonna sell a console for $600-700 doing path tracing? Okay, all right, guys.
good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, it's like someone saying we're gonna develop a car that only runs on one tank of gas. It's like, okay, I mean, keep the dream alive, but good luck with that. That's what I feel like saying.
Yeah, yeah. So far, Xbox hasn't. There's no leak or rumor about Xbox, Microsoft doing this.
No,
But
they don't
they
need a
start.
mid-gen upgrade.
Yeah,
They've got like okay, Microsoft has their Xbox Series S, which is their low budget option to get into their ecosystem, right?
yeah.
Then they've got their higher tier, which is the Series X. What do they
Yeah,
need with a mid-gen upgrade?
yeah, they don't really need a mid-gen upgrade. I mean, and then again, they got their of course they got their consoles and they got their ecosystem. Doesn't really seem practical. But oh yeah, and another point I like to make about this is people just started getting PS5s. Like the last year, people have been able to finally find one.
Because they finally had enough in stock. Like I guess the parts plague that was going on, where people couldn't get parts for shit because of COVID and the supply chain being all fucked up because people were dying in those factories.
Yeah,
They finally got that shit fixed or at least under control because like I'm tired of people saying COVID's over. No, COVID's still going on. Don't let anyone tell you it's over. There's still people who are in places where people aren't vaccinated and people are still getting COVID. It's just we now know what people need to do in order to not die.
Yeah. So, speaking of, well, still on the topic of PlayStation, um, looks like Project Q, that PlayStation portable streaming tablet, the PlayStation
You
U.
mean their take on the Wii U
Yeah,
gamepad?
apparently it's just an Android tablet. They're not doing anything particularly all that special with it. They're not creating their own custom OS or anything like that. They're just pushing Android on it, and you'll be able to stream your PlayStation games on the tablet, probably through an app or something. So it's a waste of time and money.
I mean, I guess. I mean, let me put it this way. I liked the Wii U gamepad so much that even Sony's version of it, I might be like, yeah, this could be interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, that second screen gameplay is still superior to what I get on the Switch. So, you know,
yeah, 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 exactly. Um, it's gonna be interesting to see how this is perceived by, you know, general people who don't necessarily follow
oh, it's gonna bum.
movies. Yeah, yeah.
It's
It will probably bomb spectacularly. At least that's our theory here.
oh no, it's totally gonna bum. Because the thing is like even though it's Sony, like I just don't see like okay, I'm a hardcore gamer and I love the second screen experience. But the key word is I'm a hardcore gamer. Like I know I see the potential of what the second screen experience is going to do. Joe Blow average consumer doesn't give a fuck about a second screen experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And I don't know why they just didn't make a full on handheld console or didn't make anything at all. I guess they gave up on the Vita super quickly. But
I mean, they gave it 3 years. They gave it
yeah,
functionally speaking 3 years, and then they did fuck all with it.
yeah, yeah. It was just a place for people like indies to dump their games off. Indies and like a few gotcha games to just take over. They completely stopped supporting it.
Supporting what?
The Vita, like they stopped supporting it with first party stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, they put fucking what was their killer app for that game? Their killer app for that game was Uncharted, the
Yeah,
Golden whatever.
Golden Abyss. Yeah,
I was about to say the Golden Child, but I was like, no, it was the Golden. I knew it was Golden something. I was like, yeah, it's Golden some shit. That was their killer app,
yeah,
and that was okay. It's not what people wanted, but it was okay for what it was.
yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, the problem with the Vita was the price that it came out at.
Proprietary memory.
The proprietary memory was the biggest issue, and the fact I I honestly think that's of the problems that killed the Vita. I think that's probably of the one of the biggest. I think combination of proprietary memory and the lack of support, like were the like two factors that killed that thing. Um, Now there's ways around it because people have hacked the Vita, so you can buy a proprietary card and put like a micro SD card in it, so you don't have to worry about buying a proprietary memory. But but yeah, their proprietary memory was super expensive. It's like
Yeah, it was like for a
$50 for
16
4
gig
gigs.
card, it was like almost $100. 32
Yeah,
gig card was almost like
yeah,
180 something. Like it was some ridiculously high price.
yeah. It was it was pretty crazy. Um, I mean, now that people have been hacking the Vita and doing some stuff with it, I'm interested in interested in getting one at some point. But yeah, that was an interesting platform. It's just bad support, just it's a poor decisions
I
were
mean,
made.
Sony got very greedy, as Sony is wont to do. And they were like, "Oh man, we're gonna make so much money off of this, but
Yeah,
we're gonna do it by fucking over our consumers."
yeah,
Because because remember, the PSP sold gangbusters too. But see, here's the thing: the PSP was the
that's true.
PSP was heavily pirated, and they lost money. Like Sony's like, we lost money on this, even though we sold like 50 million, 60 million units.
Yeah,
We lost money, and they're like, like we lost money because people managed to hack it, and it was like, yeah, but like like because you guys didn't get games on the PSP.
yeah, yeah. They just wanted it. It's just essentially a mini handheld PlayStation, rather than this whole new experience. That has that PlayStation vibe and flavor, but isn't isn't just a PlayStation, a handheld PlayStation with a screen on it. That's the difference between Nintendo's. At least back in the day, that was the difference between Nintendo's handhelds and their consoles. It was a different Nintendo experience on their handhelds, but
Yeah,
it wasn't trying to be a handheld Nintendo home console.
yeah, it was a completely different experience. Like what you got on the handheld was different than what you'd get on the home console, and that was okay. There was
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
Um, and then they combined their two divisions, and now I'm losing interest in Nintendo's home console games because a lot of them feel like are one and dones. Like Mario Odyssey, you play that and beat that once, you're like, I'm never gonna come back to this game.
oh yeah. I definitely felt that after went through the game once. Like, yeah, that was okay, I guess, but I ain't playing this again.
You're like, I am never, as long as I live, gonna play this game again.
Yeah,
It's like, I know some people are gonna get mad when they hear that. They're gonna be like, "How dare you?" But
yeah.
it's true.
It's just like, I mean, the transformation stuff was cool. I wish they would have done more with it. I wish the costumes that you had actually had more function to them rather than just aesthetic.
Cosmetic.
Yeah, I wish they actually had more function to it.
Yeah, like if the costumes gave you special abilities, that would have been cool.
Yeah, it's like
Like if you dress up like Fire Mario, you're now Fire Mario. No, Mario Odyssey is like, this is a really cool idea. It needed another year, maybe 2 years in the oven.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But in any case, you got any free topics?
So, anything else?
Oh, you got any free topics?
I do. Ubisoft is basically deleting accounts, their Uplay accounts, for games that haven't been active in 4 years. Like if you haven't touched your account in 4 years, they're deleting you.
Oh, jeez. That's crazy. They shouldn't. Yeah. That is. That's not cool.
Ubisoft, or as I like to call it, UB shit. Yeah, Ubisoft is a special. They're a special level of dick. In my opinion.
I mean, I don't completely mind it as long. I mean, if they had a storefront where they where their where their games weren't tied to your account.
What you play?
Yeah, like their games aren't tied to your account, like in good old games. Then okay, but since those games are tied to your account, you know, there's thousands of dollars that's gone. You know, for some people, you know, if you've heavily invested into that storefront for at least, you know, the first few years, then, or at least, yeah, if you've invested a lot of money into that storefront, then you know, it's you're just flushing people's money down the toilet.
Yeah, but let's keep it 100%, man. Who the fuck is that invested in Uplay? And Ubisoft? No one. Like, the only reason I give a fuck about Uplay is the free games I've gotten. Or, like, humble bundles where it's like, it's on Uplay. It's like, okay, well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no one's like, oh, man, Uplay. It's like, I don't really give a fuck about Uplay.
Yeah.
But that's my own personal opinion. What do you think about it?
Yeah. I agree. How many people are that invested in Uplay?
I mean, the thing is like, I have a few games on Ubisoft, but that utilize Uplay, and I have a Ubisoft account, but it's because I got the games cheap. But Ubisoft puts their shitty fucking DRM into everything.
Yeah.
Their shitty DRM that no one wants. You hear that? No one likes your fucking shit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But anything else you'd like to bring up before we close out the show?
No, that's it.
Well, guys, that wraps up another episode of Project Console. Like to pimp out your podcast, whatever you're doing on your channel.
Sure. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. Glad to be on another cast. That's not mine. Looking forward to the next one. Peace.
Peace. And this has been Kenoshi Abominito with Project Console. But hope you guys have a good week, have a good weekend, and have a good life. See you in the next one.